It looks like I'm live, so it looks like this works. Hello, hello, hello. If you're here, go ahead and type into the comments so that I can see how that works, basically. Thank you for coming on. I know there's a little bit of a delay, so I'm just going to hang out for a second before I start talking about anything of any substance. This is a test to see how well this platform, this StreamYard platform, actually streams to both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So I welcome any comments on that, any suggestions for improvement, anything like that. And it's all in preparation for some great interviews that I'm planning later on. Well, not that far later on, which I'll tell you about in a little while. But when I was thinking about a topic, because, you know, I don't just want to come on here and talk about nothing. I wanted to have some kind of value for you all who are graciously allowing me to take a little bit of your time today. So we had talked earlier in the year about showing up differently and getting different results. So I wanted to circle around and talk about that again as I'm testing these two systems. If you're online, please chat in the comments so that I can see where that goes and get used to how this platform works. Love to interact with you in that way. So we're talking about different results, getting different results by showing up differently. And I don't mean just showing up in any different way. I mean, I sort of came on earlier in the year with this new lipstick that's high commitment, because once you put it on, you can't get it off. And jokingly was talking about that as an example, but wondering if you are showing up or how you are showing up in a different way this year, or have started showing up in a different way that really serves you. You know, it's one thing just to change your clothes, change your hairstyle, do all of that, but what are those different things that you are doing now that are really creating the results that you want? So you can think about that in terms of business. Yay. Hi, Judy. Thank you for commenting in the chat, because now I can see that you are actually on YouTube. And that's awesome. So it shows me that. So great. Thank you for being willing to chat and test that out. Yeah. So talking about showing up differently in ways that really work for you, in ways that serve you. And the only way to do that is to really show up true to yourself, true to being yourself. And if you've been following me on Facebook or YouTube for any length of time, you know that I am a real proponent of the system of human design, of doing your own inner work, of understanding how you operate, of evolving your consciousness so that you can live the highest potentials of your design. And you know, so this conversation is just an evolution of that, and it's something that we're going to touch upon probably again in this year. Because it's not necessarily about showing up in a way where one of the terms that I hear a lot of times, hi, Dorothy. A lot of times I hear the term, especially around this time of year, of reinventing yourself. And there's really no need for you to reinvent yourself, because you've already been invented with everything that you absolutely need to fulfill your mission, to fulfill your purpose, to fulfill the reason why you incarnated into this body or your body. And the only thing that has to happen in a sense, is to just clear away those things that aren't true to you. So I think the first step to that is really understanding or seeing what's not serving you, and understanding and seeing uh, those avenues that you can take that sort of break up those patterns that don't serve you. And Vikram, hi. And you can do that. You can break up those patterns by really understanding, first of all, who you are. And human design shows you that on a blueprint, not how you live it out or how you can live it out, but it shows you the hardwiring that you're here to live out, the hardwiring of your strengths and your potentials. And then if you've ever done any work with your soul design, you will see those eternal gifts that you come in with, that you're here to live out in this potential, the potentials that you have within the constructs of your human body. So is it all serving you? Are you able to live your soul potential through the way that your body operates, through the way that your mind operates, as it's shown on your design? So if you're not, that's where interrupting the pattern of what you've always done can truly serve you and assist you in opening up to more of who you really are, opening up to more of that potential of light that you can radiate through into your energy field, into your auric field. It's all there when you recognize what's not serving you and you're able to clear that away. So that's why it is important to understand. Here's my chart. Here is a chart. Who you are, or who you've been hardwired to be with all of your potentials in this human life, and who you're not. And on this chart, there's only, well, there are all of these white gates and channels, but there's only this one energy center that is a potential place for this person with this chart to experience that. Those dynamics and those patterns that they can clear away, so that they can get clear about what they're taking in that's not them. Some of you are in the deconditioning blueprint, so you understand what I'm going to say. If I think about it, I'll put a link down for anyone who wants to know more about that. But so I opened with the question before most of you got here with how are you showing up differently in a way that is serving you or working for you better than the way that you were showing up in the past? How are you showing up differently this year in a way that's working for you? And I'd love to know. I'd love to hear what your thing is about that. The other thing that I wanted to talk about doing things differently is that, and this is going to ramble a little bit, because as I was preparing, I got on my phone and I saw this article about the age when most people experience a romantic, financial, and career crisis. And I've actually been doing a lot of readings lately for people who are at certain turning points in their lives. And I thought this was really interesting, because in this particular article, in the study that they're citing, they're saying that they're not saying that the midlife crisis starts earlier, but they're saying that people have experienced, a lot of people have experienced a life crisis by the age of 25. And Gen Xers hit that turning point of that crisis around 33. Baby boomers hit it around 37. And I thought that was kind of interesting, because as I'm working with different people who are at these turning points that we understand through astrology as life cycle turning points, these don't quite line up, but it seems like there are waves and waves of different Different places where that could be, or different situations that come up at different ages that can be interpreted as a crisis, especially if there's a call at that time for you to develop some sort of resilience that you don't already have. And briefly, we're talking about, or what I'm referring to is like your Saturn return at age 28 to 32, where the structures that support your life are really becoming a priority. You know, how you make your money, how you raise your family, who you're going to settle down with, where you're going to live, all of those things. At 38 to 42, there can sometimes be a crisis around at your Uranus opposition around spirituality, where you can look up and go, is this all there is to my life? And there's this sense that you want to deepen your connection with your inner spirit or with something greater than yourself. You know, then at 50, there's the Chiron return, where theoretically or optimally you're blossoming into your full potential at 50. And if there's anything that is unhealed, that archetype of the Chiron and where that is in your chart, is your human design chart or your astrology chart, can tell you a lot about what you've been working on over your lifetime, and around healing and reconciling, and what you may still have left to heal as you move forward into this blossoming phase. And then the 58 to 62 second Saturn return, which is a couple years off for me, but I'm starting to feel it, and maybe some of you who are in that age group can relate to this. But this is the second Saturn return is the time when you're really looking toward your legacy. I've been really doing a lot of inner work around what is it that I need to put into effect, and how is it that I need to show up in the next 10 years in my business and in my life, so that when I'm 70 and 80, I can really truly live the vision that I have for what I have contributed into the world. And this is very prominent in the second Saturn return. It comes in the first Saturn return too. I know a lot, I've worked with a lot of people who have that little existential crisis in the first Saturn return around, what am I here to do? What's my life purpose? How do I do that? How do I support myself while I'm doing that? These are big questions. 4-6 profile with emotional authority. Change me to start to understand yourself better. Yeah. And that's what I'm getting to. Yeah, living your design. You're 40 years old. Yeah. So there's that sense of wanting to know yourself more deeply at that 40-year-old range, or that 40-year-old turning point for you. And you're right on time. And I'm so glad you've kind of found your way into my world, where we geek out on human design, and look at the gene keys, and look at, understanding yourself more deeply, and how you're sort of genetically hardwired to live out true patterns, and then live out these adaptive patterns that you may have taken in through your conditioning. So yeah, and then that leads us to this place where we can truly live at another level with our purpose for being on the planet, with the way that we're here to share what's true and eternal and bright and shiny from our souls and our spirits, right? So showing up differently. If you just found human design, or if you've just started this path, that's a way you're going to get some strategies, or a strategy for your human design type, where you're going to show up differently, or you have some experimentation to do around showing up differently, because it's a lot of times living according to your strategy, and listening to your particular inner authority or outer authority, however you make decisions, is counterintuitive to what you have been taught, what other people around you are doing. And you are inevitably going to have to show up differently and be differently in the world. And just by doing those two basic things, or understanding those two things and working with that, your strategy, the way you make decisions, you can break a lot of patterns around your conditioning, your childhood conditioning. I did a series of videos on the gene keys, and if you follow the golden path on the gene keys and you get into the Venus sequence, you're going to really have the opportunity to break some shadow patterns, or some patterns of your shadow self and experience, or shadow programming, where you may have shut down your heart at different developmental stages. So there's another way to interrupt patterns. And then just in your daily life, how do you interrupt certain patterns? Like Monday, I being the splenic projector that I am, part of me, all of the tried and true business advice says, you show up at your desk on Monday morning at a certain time. And I decided to interrupt that pattern on Monday. I had plenty of energy. I usually check in with my energy before. If I've had a strenuous weekend, I might not start right at 8 o'clock, or whenever my day I say I'm going to start. But I had plenty of energy, and I decided, since it was a beautiful day in the moment, that I would just walk downtown and get a cup of coffee instead of making my coffee and getting to my desk. And I did eventually get to my desk, right? But that gave me the opportunity to take in new sights, new sounds. I wanted to see, there's a window decorating contest downtown, and I wanted to see uh, what businesses had what windows, what they had, how they had decorated their windows. And I wanted to be inspired by that. And that actually got my day off to, you know, a, for me, a productive start, because I was inspired with a lot of creativity. And then I could sit at my desk and continue to create, So that's a simple day-to-day example of how you can interrupt a pattern. Now, what I want to lead to is like something that I'm really excited about, that I think is going to come together on Thursday. You'll get the announcement. I was introduced by a colleague and a collaborator of mine to Projectors work, and she is interrupting the pattern of how projectors have been conditioned to do business. So if you're in business for yourself or whatever, or you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, you know that the work world in general, the outside work world that generators do, is not for you. As a projector, this is going to interest you, because as soon as I started reading some of her blogs, I really resonated with her process. And her program is called Projector Magic. And I've been working with my own magic for a long time. And we all have magic, whether you're a manifester. Manifestors have that extroverted magic. And I'm speaking to you, Dorothy. Manifestors have that extroverted magic to get stuff started, and generators have that sustainable magic to keep things going, and projectors have this magic that's not always seen by the fruits of your labor. And it's something that energetically I've been working with my focus, with really listening to my body, when I work with my business, when I work with clients, how I live my life, all of that. And the thing that what I call it is like all of that behind the scenes magic, where you hook up to, the full potential or the full light of your soul self and your spirit, right? And you live that, and you bring that into your being and your body. And it's not something that that you can see out here. It's not something where that you're taught in normal business school. And I specifically do it, or I have my own process for activating my projector magic, but I don't know how to communicate it in a very cohesive way. So when I saw uh, Pilar's work, it was it resonated with me at such a deep level, and I thought, oh my gosh, I have to share this with those in my community who are projectors, who really are looking for their magic and need to know how to activate it. So I'm delighted that she's going to come on Thursday in this format. That's why we're practicing here. And maybe if you're a projector, projectors who are starting businesses or who are running businesses and burnout, invite them to come, because I really want her to come on and give some tips about how projectors can really truly do their business in a way that is that activates your magic from that place of your own magic. Um, so, I don't have any words for this. I left a link there. I'm really, and again, me following my splenic response, I saw a post on Instagram from her about this, and I had already read some of her blog posts. I had already seen the sales page for her program, and was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. And then when I saw her Instagram post, I reached out to her, and and I asked her, how can I help you? So this is how this has come about. And I'm hoping that you're going to join me if you're a projector, because I think she does have some wisdom to share about how to live that magic when you're creating a business. There is such a thing as, having discipline, having businesses need energies within them that are consistent. Uh, Sometimes, a lot of times, requires a lot of discipline. It a lot of times requires work beyond what a non-sacral being is really here to do. And what I've noticed from being pretty much a solopreneur for a long time is that uh, a lot of the energy that I need and the insight and perspective that I need about how to manage my energy comes from my work in the unseen, my work to activate my magic. And when my magic is activated, my you know my inbox gets full. I don't know how to put it. When I go and do my meditations, when I go and do my visualization, my mantras, when I go back to my meditation corner, which is back behind that screen, I activate that, and perhaps I have on my list to reach out to certain people. Inevitably, those people email me. That's just a simple example of how I interpret projector magic. And it's something that we as projectors are really here to work with, because we're bridging two worlds here. We're bridging that tried and true old 3D world that we have to work in because we have these bodies, right? And we're bringing this new way of working into it because those that we serve need this as well. But this is my perspective. We have to perfect it before we can be invited to share it. So that's another way that as projectors in particular can show up differently and get different results. When you show up and you work behind the scenes, you do your inner work, you do your unseen work in a way that is intentional and aligned, it produces different results in your life. So she will be coming, Vikram, she'll be coming. I think we have it tentatively set up for Thursday at noon Eastern time. 3 o'clock Pacific time. It might change. I'll when I do the final, the final scheduling of that, you'll see it on my page. You'll see it on my Facebook page if you're on Facebook, and you'll also see it on YouTube. And it will stay up there. So if you miss it and you can't get on there live, you can watch it later. uh, and yeah, so I'm really excited. This is all kind of like new stuff for me, showing up new in a different medium, on a different platform, uh, collaborating in different ways that are really allowing me to kind of shine the light on other people, on their brightness. So I'm really excited about it. Okay, noon Eastern. Thank you, Jamie. Let's see. Let me see if I have this right. If it's, yeah, I have that wrong. Thank you. It is noon Pacific. Now I've forgotten exactly what she said. So I think it's 3 p.m. Pacific time. Anyway, let me just quickly check to see if I have this right. Hold on. Um, Now I've gotten all confused about our conversation. It is, hold on. It is noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. So that's what it is. As far as the last conversation we had, it's noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Pacific time. So is that right, Jamie? Awesome. So, okay, cool. Cool. So thank you guys for showing up, and there's more to come. I'm so excited about us being able to show up in a way that is different. I know I've been on YouTube doing live streams, experimenting with live streams for a long time, and doing a lot of videos, and then I've been sharing them over on Facebook. But at the end of last year, I got this sense that I really wanted to come on and share to both communities at the same time, because there just seemed to be so much more energy available by doing that for all of us. And it's so much more convenient for all of us, right? So I'm so glad you all have joined me here, and thank you for coming on. And I'll put that out. Pamela, I'm assuming that it's 1 p.m. Mountain time on Thursday. Yeah, do your own time zone conversion there, but I do know East Coast, West Coast, 3 p.m. East, noon Pacific on Thursday. So awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you on Thursday. Bye.